This is my review on the Arturia AudioFuse Studio.
Traptendo.
What is going on, guys? I am really excited to do a review on the Arturia AudioFuse Studio because it's been lingering around for about a year now. We got a reveal at last year's NAMM, and I definitely was very interested then, and now they are finally finished and they sent me this product, and I am so excited about it because I get to weigh in on the pros and cons of this unit. And I know you guys want to leave your comments below, so I definitely want to hear from you guys because that really helps with the engagement, and I really do appreciate you guys for checking me out. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about the IOs. So this is the AudioFuse Studio right here, and for comparison reasons, I'm going to show you the older version of the AudioFuse here. This is the smaller sibling, and as you can see, it shares a lot of the same form factor. It has the great build quality, metal built body, and endless encoder right here for the output level, and great display of the audio that is coming in and out, and I will have more about that a little later. And I just really like the nice metal chassis. It's a very premium built quality audio interface for the money. And one thing I do like is the military grade knobs. These don't feel cheap at all. And it also has nice displays on there too, and you can switch in between the different channels. Speaking of the 4 channels right here, I want to go ahead and show you this right here. You can also put channels in mono, but that's be more down the line here. You can see you have 4 inputs right here, and they are XLR and 1/4" jack ins. And you also have 1/8" and 1/4" jacks for your headphones. So that's really good. A lot of people ask for that feature. Just like the older AudioFuse by Arturia, the back is fully loaded, and this is like times 20 now. So we have a USB hub, you have a MIDI in and out, which is an 1/8" jack adapter that does come with it, and it also has DC power, so that means that you will get as much phantom power as humanly possible, and that's great for your Mcrees when you are trying to power up a condenser mic. And you also have an option to plug up not 1 but 2 different studio monitors, so you can go from speaker A to speaker B. You have your clock, your SPDIF, and you have your aux out, which you can do with your guitar amp if you want to reamp things, and I will do a video on that because I play guitar. One of the biggest things I really like about this is that it has 2 different inserts that you can use, and that's great if you have a lot of analog gear like me or something like that. If you have external effects, you can process vocals any way that you want and mix that inside of the box. So that's really good. I think that's an awesome feature that is underlooked and underappreciated. And one thing that a lot of audio interface companies do not do is have optical ins and optical outs, which help expand your IOs even more. And it does work with any 18i whatever out there, so that is really good. Or even with, like, maybe you have the AudioFuse and you want to combine it with the AudioFuse Studio, you have that feature as well. And then you have some more line inputs as well. You can either go mono or stereo through the Arturia software, and you also have, last but not least, a line in or phono jack. So if you're like one of those people that have a technique or something like that that needs to be grounded, you can do that and use it phono, or you can just go and use the line in. That is awesome. Trust me when I say that. I think one of the bigger features is that this can receive Bluetooth. Now, I know a lot of people might have computers, laptops, desktops that might be able to receive Bluetooth, but this being able to receive Bluetooth is really dope, and it is featured right here as I press the Bluetooth button. The other thing I really like about this is that you can listen to your mixes in mono via a button right here, which is the mono button. Of course, you can dim it down as well, and you have a talk button on this thing, which makes it extremely great for when you have studio workflow either at your house or at your studio altogether. This is like a big boy piece all in one with a smaller form factor, but giving you big results. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply the science instead of rattling off numbers here at the bottom right of the screen. You can see that the AudioFuse Studio is in the flesh, and you can see that it has peak monitoring on it, and that is one great thing that I really do like about the Arturia AudioFuse Studio, is that it has great peak meters. And also on top of that, I'm using the phantom power right now, 48 volts, and it does take power, so you do have to plug this audio interface in, which is a very good thing, and I will get into that in another video. But I want to go ahead and show you, how green means good, orange means that you're close to being distorted, and red is peaking or distortion. So yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and speak into the microphone here. Pay attention to the bottom right part of the screen here. And this is me speaking into my Ashton Origin microphone. What I will do is I will adjust the gain on the microphone itself so that I won't be peaking so much. And yeah, hopefully you will enjoy this quality here. I could pad it off and make it a little lower than it needs to be. Padding things off will help with the noise ceiling. Of course, you know, I want to go ahead and demonstrate that now. So I'm going to turn the gain all the way up so you can hear the noise. And we're back to normal here. Did you enjoy that? So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the DAW part of this because I think that's very important as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up my audio preferences right now. So I'm going to go ahead and go to preferences. I'm in Ableton Live right now. That's my DAW choice when it comes to mixing or whatever. So as you can see, the Arturia Audio drivers are in full effect. So I have an input latency of 14.7 milliseconds and an output latency of 12.0 milliseconds and an overall latency of 26.7 milliseconds. So that ain't going to change the world. But at the same time, I will say this, it will get a little bit higher if you add your Ableton Push 2 to the mix, or if you have an Ableton Push 2. But other than that, though, these are pretty good numbers for me. Also, when it comes down to latency, enough people do not address the fact that, you know, if you have a slower computer or older processor, then that will affect it. And also what affects latency as well is having a whole bunch of devices plugged in. I have a lot of devices, USB hubs, a whole bunch of web cameras plugged up to my computer right now, or a laptop rather. Mind you, this is a laptop I'm using. And yeah, it will add to the latency a whole bunch, not to mention CPU usage. So now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and I guess mix the track a little bit. And this track does need a whole bunch of mixing. This is not how I like to mix, but hey, it is what it is. Hi-hats need to go down. Turn that up a little bit. That clap is loud as hell. So one of my newer privileges with the AudioFuse Studio is being able to record in real time and do demonstrations like these. So I really do appreciate this right here. So yeah, I'm the realest one in the building. Yeah. I just wanted to do that. One thing I want to demonstrate is pressing the Arturia button quickly will bring up the Arturia AudioFuse control. So make sure that you install that. It's very important that you install the software before plugging it up. And this is how it looks like in the flesh here. But nonetheless, I do want to show you a couple of things. The first thing I want to tell you is that you have more control over your IOs as far as like the volume, of course, and you can kind of correlate this with mixing if you're doing stuff live or whatnot. You can't insert any effects in this, and that's one thing I have as a con, maybe, but you can set up different cue mixes for certain situations if you want to recall or send something out, and that's pretty cool. The other thing that I want to show you guys is that you can resize this. I do have a 1080p screen, but when I put this thing to 100%, holy goodness, does this thing get big? And I was like, and I was kind of shocked because I was like, dang, like I might need to get a 4K monitor soon. But other than that, though, I think that's pretty cool that you can resize it, you know, and kind of fit your workflow. And this is going to be a necessity. The other thing I want to show you guys is that I have it hooked up straight into OBS. Like I didn't have to use Voice Meter Banana or anything like that. At first I thought I did need to do that. What I did was I just set up a loop back. And if I was to go back into the Ableton software, go ahead and press that button. Bloop. So going back into the Ableton software, you have a loopback feature. And that is very useful for when you want to screen record or anything like that. So that's basically just routing altogether. And you can either choose to disable it or you can choose to set it up to one of your cues. If I disable it, as you can see, I disabled it for a second and all of my vocals dropped. So I had to set it up that way inside of OBS. Now I'm pretty sure you guys are ready for a hardware test. All right, so I'm using my lavalier mic this time around before I do the test. So if you hear a little bit more noise than usual, then you can hear it being open and closed through the gate. Yeah, so that's a little weird. But other than that though, hardware test, let's hear how it sounds like coming from lines 7 and 8. All right, now I know people have been waiting for the Bluetooth test, so I can't hear anything actively out of my headphones right now. But other than that, though, if I press a button,
surprise, motherfucker,
there's a wee bit of a delay, so it can receive Bluetooth. And that might have to do with either my device not being able to connect very well to it, which is my iPad Pro 11, and the Arturia AudioFuse Studio. But I mean, it can receive Bluetooth though, nonetheless. So that's a pretty cool way to sample if you're into sampling. So you have a Bluetooth device, you'll be able to do that. Not to mention, this is an earlier build of the AudioFuse Studio. So this is a prototype. And of course, you have a talkback button on this thing, and it's not so great, but I could talk about the functionality. Quality-wise, it's not awesome, but it's talkback. Clicking the button allows you to use the talkback, and then unclicking it turns the talkback off. But if you hold the talkback button, you'll be able to talk and then let go, and it will turn the talkback off. So it has a double functionality to it. So tell me how you feel about this video. I definitely want to hear from you guys in the comment section. You know how these things go. This is a review. It's supposed to be about pros and cons, not about, walking you through all the features or whatnot. Even though in practical test, I walk you through some of the features so you can see how it functions, and and I didn't want to talk about logistics of numbers. You know what I'm saying? It has to be about the applied science. So, the pros, one of the things I thought was going to be a con though, is that I thought it wasn't going to work with OBS. But as you can see, it works with OBS because that's how I screen record, and that's how I live stream and all that other stuff. Stream. That's how you say stream. But other than that though, yeah, so it works, and that's great. And it works without Voice Meter Banana, which is a huge plus because I hate that software. Also, it has Bluetooth on there, and I thought the Bluetooth worked very well, even though it had a slight delay behind it, and hopefully that can improve with a firmware update or two. Hopefully it will be able to send Bluetooth to another unit, like a Bluetooth speaker or something like that, so you can, hear your mixes, how a normal listener would listen to it instead of just like hearing it on studio monitors. Speaking of which, you can have 2 pairs of studio monitors, which is great. And you can mute them, which is something that's phenomenal for me, because the reason why I really hated my older audio interface is the fact that I had to unplug the speakers. And yeah, it was just not fun. It was just not a fun workflow. And, with that being said, I think this is a very good unit for that many reasons. And the fact that it has a lot of IOs and it's very small, compact, well built, and just a lot of things I really wish a lot of other interfaces would have. I mean, I know the Apollo Twin guys are going to really feel me on this. It comes with both wires, guys. You know what I'm talking about. The USB Type-C, which is Thunderbolt 3, I guess, for you guys. And it works with the MacBook Pro 2016 and above. And then you have the Type-A as well, which is something I wanted to mention in this. And also the fact that it plugs up to a wall and it has an off button. It can be turned off at any given time. So that is fantastic for saving power. Another con, I guess, would be the talkback button. It doesn't sound like it's a professional studio microphone when you hit the talkback button. Surprise, surprise. If you have worked with many talkback buttons before in many different studios, they don't sound great for a reason. It's just meant for you to communicate with the talent. And, yeah. But other than that, though, I mean, expandability, ADAT, expansion, just very good. A lot of audio interfaces missed that mark, and Arturia does not. Do I give this the stamp of approval? I would say so. Hell yeah, I would say so.
Nintendo.